Him. On Cartoon Network, Dark can show up in a tutu and speak in a whisper. That's him, introduced as so evil, so horribly vile, that the show won't risk a real name, just a pronoun with claws. His debut in Octi Evil nails his method from day one. He doesn't smash Townsville first, he gets inside your head and lets you do the breaking. The silhouette does half the talking. Lobster pincers, widow's peak, candy red skin, thigh-high boots. Because the costume is a thesis. Performance as power. Under the camp, the toolkit is brutal. Possession, illusion, dream manipulation, and straight reality warping. When he needs muscle, he just brings it back, like resurrecting the Rowdy Rough Boys for a rematch that feels less like a fight and more like a bad habit Townsville can't quit. Him preys on fault lines. He turns Bubbles' toy into a mouthpiece to fracture the sisters. He weaponizes nightmares, so each girl meets the version of fear that fits just right. And when the series imagines a future without the Powerpuffs, Speed Demon, he isn't a mere tyrant, he's an epoch. The planet curdled under a smiling despot who talks like a lullaby and rules like a curse. He isn't terrifying because he racks up bodies. He's terrifying because he doesn't have to. A lowered voice, a borrowed dream, and suddenly the sisters are second-guessing each other before they ever doubt him. Even Townsville's crooks give him elbow room. The lipstick stays joke bright while the spell is pitch black. And the only thing that actually shrinks his shadow is the opposite mood. Kindness and solidarity. The girls choosing each other over the whisper. Mandark. The new kid at Huber Elementary shows up with a perfect score and an ultimatum. He answers to Susan Astronomonov, unveils a lab bigger than Dexter's, and orders Dexter to shut his down or work for him. It isn't a prank war, it's eviction by genius. First appearance, Dexter's rival. The origin swings from flower child to supervillain, born to hippie parents Windbear and Oceanbird. Baby Susan is literally struck by lightning, imprints on a piece of tech, and starts rewriting himself. Helmet bowl cut, pressed suit, a new name that fits the storm, Mandark, and a backyard mega lab to match the attitude. He's not just petty, he's arcane. In the pursuit of ultimate knowledge, Mandark contacts an interdimensional entity named Jojo, compiles a grimoire titled The Magic of Science, and cuts a deal. From there, the visuals tilt from chrome to gothic biomechanical. The lab morphs with the corruption, a mood board of gears and ribs that says he's burning through more than electricity. His weak point wears ballet shoes. Mandark falls hard for Dee Dee. Dexter tells him to ask her to dance, and Mandark obliges, then watches, devastated, as Dee Dee twirls through his facility like a pastel wrecking ball. The crush never really fades. Even far future bits insist it's the one constant in every version of him. Continuity does its own science experiment. Early seasons tag him Astronomonov, hinting Russian ancestry. Later lore foregrounds the hippie parents and rewires pieces of the origin. Final bow, two geniuses, together forever. However you chart it, the read is the same. Mandark is Dexter's mirror, taller, sharper, fueled by humiliation, and willing to fuse calculus with occult footnotes if that's what it takes to win. He doesn't just want Dexter's lab, he wants the world that would have loved Susan, provided he can crush it first. Mojo Jojo. Townsville's doomsday clock wears a cape and a fishbowl. Before he was the city's most persistent headache, he was Jojo, the lab chimp who literally shoved Professor Utonium at the wrong moment, knocked him into Chemical X, and jump-started two origin stories at once, the Powerpuff Girls and the world's angriest genius monkey. Call him the franchise's accidental architect and its main arsonist. The look tells on him, green skin, pink eyes, and a brain so overclocked it needs a domed helmet just to stay put. Early seasons draw him like a feral chimp in cosplay. Later years sharpen the edges. Longer ears and chin, bigger brain, a silhouette that reads mastermind from a city block away. He speaks like a malfunctioning translator. Hyper-formal, redundant, and proud of it. Which the show weaponizes for comedy. See Los Dos Mojos and Mo Linguish. His own manifesto basically loops itself. One shall be the number of Mojo Jojos. And being the only Mojo Jojo in the world, I will rule the world. Under the hat, a builder first, Bruiser second. Mojo's superhuman intelligence spits out laser arrays, giant robots, and Rube Goldberg schemes that actually Rube and actually Goldberg. He's beaten street gangs without lifting a finger, teamed with rivals when it suited him, and, on a darker note, his chaos sometimes has a body count. That bus in the Rowdy Rough Boys isn't coming back. He's even been bumped up to PPG power levels for an episode, flexing a super brain blast like a calfed up X-Man. Mojo's history with the girls is messier than Villain of the Week week. He made their origin possible, then spends the series trying to unmake it. Time travel hits, custody battles, even moments of twisted honor where he helps out purely because an annoying foe offends his aesthetics. Call it professional courtesy, call it a city-sized midlife crisis. Either way, he's the show's perfect foil, the genius who can build anything except a world where he finally wins. Which is why he keeps talking, planning, repeating. Because next time, the number of Mojo Jojos shall be one, he insists, and this time, one shall be enough. Slade. He isn't Jump City's loudest villain. He's the one who makes the room quiet. Slade, Orange Eye, Black Void, treats crime like project management and Robin like an unfinished chapter. The goal never changes. Isolate the Titans, claim the city, and turn its best apprentice into his reflection. Season 1 plays like a talent drive. He bankrolls Breakouts, Cinderblock Plasmus, taps Hive, tests Thunder and Lightning, and tempts Red X, already knowing who's under the mask. Insurance arrives via nanobots in the Titans' bodies. With a snap, he forces Robin into the suit as Slade's apprentice, a lesson in control disguised as partnership. Then he finds Terra's fear of losing control and turns it into leverage, fixing her power until she's his enforcer. She balks, breaks his leash, and drops him into lava, a death that doesn't stop the game. In Haunted, the team watches Robin bruise himself fighting no one. Dust from Slade's cracked mask carried a hallucinogenic reagent remotely triggered that weaponizes stress and keeps Slade alive in Robin's head. Later, Trigon drags him back with fire powers and the Mark of Scath, sending him to deliver Raven's apocalypse and then betray Hell out of spite. Slade teams briefly with Robin, vanishes again, and the mask goes back to being a rumor with teeth. Snapshot. Calm, surgical, steel-denting strength, speed, and stamina beyond human, and the kind of patience that edits heroes instead of punching them. The bruise he leaves is the proof he was there at all, in the dark tonight. Father. Start with a porch light and a shadow that never raises his voice. In KND, the neighborhood boogeyman is literally called Father. Pipe in hand, red outline aglow, running the block from the delightful mansion down the lane while his children do the dirty work. He's the organization's archenemy from his first big play in Operation Grow Up, and Operation Zero later unmasks him as Benedict Ben Uno, Monty's brother, Nigel's uncle, making the war against childhood a family business. The look is a thesis, head-to-toe shadow suit with a razor-red outline and yellow eyes that do all the emoting. When the suit comes off in canon, he's a bow-tied, pompadoured adult who weaponizes politeness until it combusts. Literally, his temper manifests as fire. The power set runs hot. Fireballs, flame walls, and surges that spike with anger, plus a grab bag of levitation, telekinesis, self-replication, and even shape-shifting when the plot needs a new nightmare. He's not invincible, he's petty in human ways. Ice cream and water shut him down. Broccoli makes him blink. Yes, broccoli. And that one time, a thread of vegetables turned into a full-on defeat. The pettiness flips dark fast, though. Next to Grandfather, the show calls him the cruelest recurring villain. He even once tried to bake children into a cake for the Delightful's party. Straight up mass murder dressed as dessert. The bio reads like villain origin by generational trauma. As a kid, Benedict cowered under Grandfather's thumb, then grew into the role he feared, delightfulizing Sector Z into his children, seething with jealousy over Monty and still chasing approval from the old man. In the cracks, you catch flashes of something almost human, deadpan sarcasm, a sulk when he's left off a party invite, but the flame always wins. He doesn't just fight the KND, he parents an army, polishes the silverware, and signs the eviction notice on childhood itself. Ice King. Before the kidnapping gags and penguin conga lines, he was Simon Petrikov, an antiquarian who put on a magical crown and felt his mind slide away. Memories fraying, Betty gone, princesses filling the shape she left. That reveal lands via the VHS diaries and Holly Jolly Secrets, and it rewires every Ice King joke after. The bargain is cruel and simple. Cryokinesis for sanity. With the crown, he fires ice lightning, conjures blizzards, and lives for centuries. Without it, he's shaky and diminished. The goblin nose and white eyes a permanent receipt. His sidekick is its own cosmic joke. Gunter is secretly Orgalorg, a world breaker in penguin form, and once Finn and Jake learned Simon's past, especially through Marceline, who knew him in the war's ruins, their enemy turns into a patient. The kidnappings read less like conquest than catastrophic loneliness. Betty is the ache that never heals. She time hops to save him, then finally sacrifices herself to cure Simon and stop Golbo. He returns human and has to live with what the crown burned away. Critics ended up calling him the show's most tragic figure, not for ruling Ooh, but for losing himself to keep breathing. The icicles are set dressing. The chill is grief. Aku. On Cartoon Network, Apocalypse has a proper noun, Aku. Born from a shard of a primordial black mass scorched by the gods and flung to Earth, he grew into a shape-shifting demon who conquered the planet and turned the future into his personal strip mall. Only one thing scars him, the divine katana forged for Jack's father, so every plan he makes is really a plan to separate a samurai from a sword. When that fails, he changes shape, scale, and voice faster than a lie. He doesn't just fight Jack, he edits time. After blocking a last remaining portal, he destroys the rest and lets centuries do the bullying until he learns time travel froze Jack's clock. The stalemate curdles Aku too, apathy, self-mockery, even splitting into two so he can argue with his own therapist. When rebels mass at his fortress, he swells into a rolling sphere of blackness, vaporizes the Scotsman, and then slumps back into boredom the moment Jack's missing blade is mentioned. Tyranny as depression is still tyranny. The performance is the trap. Mako's to roar delivery made lines like extra thick funny just long enough for the knife to slide in. After Mako's passing, Greg Baldwin preserved that cadence. Some people even worship him. Aku's power set reads like a loophole. Near immortal, resistant to mortal harm, liquefies, clones, mimics voices, scales from gnat to skyscraper, and heals around sword wounds with molten effort. Everything works until righteousness and that katana walk in the room together. Arrogance writes the ending. By possessing Ashi, Aku accidentally gifts her his powers. She opens a portal and hurls Jack back to the past, the one place Aku can't regenerate from a single stroke. Evil, in other words, engineers its own deletion, and yet the charge sheet still reads like a universe-sized crime. Nations conquered or razed, labor camps, genocides for fun, free will crushed because suffering amuses him. Embodiment of evil isn't branding, it's literal. Written across the worlds he bends until they break. The Lich. Some villains want crowns. This one wants a silent universe. The Lich isn't a guy in a lair. He's a cosmic infection that arrived on Earth as a catalyst comet, then found flesh near the end of the Mushroom War. In his hero, the champion Billy smashed his face into a tower and sealed him in amber. But that only pressed pause. As the show keeps hinting, the Lich thinks of himself as a wheel, not dead, just turning back around. When pause ends, he moves like malware. He puppets the snail to crack the amber, then takes Princess Bubblegum as a sleeve when his body collapses. From there, the plan scales up, snatch the Enchiridion, socket the power jewels, and pry open the multiverse on the way to Prismo's time room so he can wish life out of existence. And when Finn and Jake finally catch Billy giving orders without moving his mouth, the mask drops. The Lich was literally wearing Billy's corpse. That's his style, no monologue, just progress. Even losses feel like reroutes. Hit with a Citadel Guardian's blood, he reboots into Sweet Pea, a baby adopted by Tree Trunks and Mr. Pig, dreaming in green whenever the old self rattles the door. In far future glimpses, Sweet Pea has grown to kaiju size, a walking reminder that the wheel can still turn. Meanwhile, the Lich calls himself the last scholar of Golb, which is Adventure Time Speak 4. He studies annihilation like a religion. If you need a litmus test for dread, note who twitches. Peppermint Butler senses him. Gumball Guardians bark Lich alert. And even victory comes with paperwork because alternate timelines keep copies. He isn't dramatic, he's patient. And patience, in this case, is the scariest superpower on the channel. That's our tour of Cartoon Network's darkest minds. Demons, dads, liches, and lab coats. Which villain still rents space in your head? Drop your pick and a theory in the comment. Like, subscribe, keep the nightlight on, and remember, sometimes the scariest monster is the one whispering like a friend tonight.